Now let's begin with the poem. I recently took a contract to demolish the walls of buildings. It's not only buildings that have walls, villages do too. And we have heard of world wars and fought for the walls of nations. Now, the poem, in the first lines of the poem itself, the poet makes quite clear that he is determined to bring down these walls, destroy these walls that we have created. He is not going to wait for others to do. He will take the initiative. I recently took a contract to demolish the walls of buildings. It's not only buildings that have walls, villages do too. Now the wall, as I've already discussed earlier, the poet is not only talking about the physical wall, but he is also talking about the various uh, barriers that we have created in the name in the form of caste, creed, religion, nation, gender, race. Now these are the barriers that we have created. He wants to bring down both the physical wall as well as the walls that we have, imaginary walls that we have created between the human beings. He goes on to say that it is not only the buildings that have walls, but villages also have. Now, if you look at the views of Gandhi and Ambedkar, Gandhi always wanted government to have very limited power. Gandhiji wanted villages to rule themselves, using panchayats. He was in favor of people governing themselves, decentralization of power. But Ambedkar was skeptical about this idea. He held a very contrary view about the villages. Ambedkar had a different view. According to him, villages were a cesspool of cruelty, caste prejudice, and communalism. Ambedkar did not think that human rights would be safe if they are left to the dominant groups, because the panchayats and everything in villages, it is always controlled by the dominant groups, and these dominant groups have oppressed marginalized sections for centuries together in the most inhuman manner. um, it is really unfortunate that even today, now and then, we come across such incidents. So because of this reason, Ambedkar had a totally different view. And we have already seen, while discussing about the author mainly has written about the Dalits and women. The poet has always tried to give voice to these voiceless sections. Today we are living in 21st century, in an era of development. Today, education is more easily accessible. The literacy rate of India has gone significantly, not just in India, but around the world. But unfortunate thing is that people have become literate. They know how to read and write, but they have not become educated. Uh, the education system has made them literate, but has failed to make them educated. The education has failed to renovate the minds of the people. The mindsets of the people still continue to be in the same way. Society is still divided on the basis of caste, race, creed, gender, language, nationality. Uh, these social evils have refused to go away. Uh, they are still in the form of the walls. And poet wants to bring these kinds of walls down so that there can be peace and harmony in the society. And the poet considers it as a very important thing to demolish these walls, and he is determined to it. In fact, if you look at the first line, he says he has took the contract. He wants to lead. He doesn't want to wait for others because he considers it to be the need of the hour. He wants people to become rational. And we have heard of world wars fought for the walls of nations. And there are so many wars that are fought, that were fought in the past, and we still see a lot of problems. Uh, Still, there are many wars that are going on right now. Now there are problems. Maybe they are not going on the scale of World War One and World War Two, but there are many problems among the nations. Now these are the barriers. These are the walls that have to be broken. Now it is the poet is trying to talk about these things, and we all are well aware. You all must be knowing that how the impact the World War One and Two had. It devastated a lot of countries. A lot of people lost their lives. A lot of the lives of the people were altered, disturbed. They lost their lives, livelihoods. So there was a lot of destruction of lives as well as property. So if you look at what we achieved by waging these wars, we could have totally avoided these wars. So it is very important to understand what the poet is saying. Um, what I'll do is I'll show you some pictures of World War One and World War Two.